Here's a live video of me drawing with a pencil. As you can see, ignore the parts where it says Yusuke Murata at the bottom of the screen. That's just bullshit YouTube, you know, clickbait title. This is definitely me drawing right now. I just like to point out that the major difference here is, besides the fact that one person here is Yusuke Murata and the other person is me, I just like to point out that Yusuke Murata, while streaming, is making sure to not engage with his chat at all for even 1 second. I just like to point that out. Like, even the best, most talented artists in the world aren't trying to fucking engage with their fucking chat while they're trying to focus and do shit. I just wanted to point that out, so it makes sense why I'd be like, I don't want to fucking stream because I actually want to, you know, focus on drawing and stuff. On the other hand, people who are like, "Oh, why doesn't he just like turn it off and don't say anything?" It's like, come on, guys. Let's be real. None of you actually want to sit in a fucking stream in which nothing happens except someone draws shit silently the entire time. Watching other people draw is not as entertaining as some people might think it is. I don't think I need this double part. In fact, watching other people play video games isn't as entertaining as those fucking nerds at Twitch thought it was, which is why when they created an IRL section for fucking Twitch, that became the most popular part on the fucking site, because people would rather watch their favorite female streamer show her feet once every 30 minutes than actually watch anybody play video games. You need to constantly have a repeating GIF. Here, let me help you guys out. Let me modernize my stream really quick. I got you guys.
Hi, Lois. It's a great morning, no matter how you slice it.
I don't know what this is, Peter, but we're 4 months behind on our mortgage.
Well, that's odd. It's not like we're short on dough.
I'm taking the kids and I'm staying at my parents' for a while.
That's the yeast of my concerns. Step forward, Maggot.
Next time, that'll be you.
Well, why wasn't it him this time?
Oh, I'm so scared.
Peter, stop it!
Yeah, you're real big when you got that stick, ain't you? Okay, I'll stop now. Got some crystal meth. I figured we could do it together as father and son.
I don't know about that.
Tell you what, I'll get us started. That feels better.
You sure that stuff is okay?
All I know is the guys who made it are dead. Why is there no hole in this wall?
Well, Lee, this is happening to me. I can never go back to school again.
Oh, yes, Meg, yes, everything was going swimmingly for you until this.
You guys feeling entertained?
It will ruin your reputation. Not your years of grotesque appearance or awkward social graces, or that Felix Ungarish way you clear your sinuses. No, it's this. Do you hear yourself talk? I might kill you tonight.
What a great stream we have right now, guys. We're doing it. We're appealing to the millennial audience. I guess it's not millennial. I'm a millennial. The Gen Z audience.
No. The Iraqi army? No. Some guys from Iraq? No. That one lady who visited Iraq that one time?
No, Peter, Iraq had nothing to do with this. It was a bunch of Saudi Arabians, Lebanese, and Egyptians financed by a Saudi Arabian guy living
The minion noise is oddly synchronized with Peter talking in a weird way.
To invade Iran? All right, Max, stay incredibly still. I'm gonna whip that
These 4 or 5 sources of noise somehow are creating a weird kind of synergy.
Okay, that's pretty cool too.
Hey, Dad, that's a cool whip.
Also, this Minions game is oddly high budget based on the number of assets they have, considering it's just like the most absolute brain dead shit for kids.
Peter, you get down from that tree.
This is a fucking 4K 60 frames per second Despicable Me Minion Rush gameplay. Alright, that's enough.
Boy.
I think I've sufficiently decreased the brain cells of everybody in the stream. Peter! Peter! What was I planning on doing? Okay, yeah. Let me show you guys a super powerful, one weird trick that makes art easier. The art industry hates him. Use the fucking magic brush. But instead of trying to select the areas inside the object you're trying to select, you select all the shit outside. Like this. See how it was able to select everything besides the fucking computer in one shot? And now instead of doing that, you go select and oh, it's unselected. Select, convert selection layer to selection. Invert selected area. There. See, and now you have inside the computer selected. Yeah. This is the secret power that people use to color stuff slightly quicker than normal, but it's not that helpful. It's kind of helpful, but it's not super helpful. It doesn't work if you have a shit ton of details on your character that are all different colors, so it really isn't a super cheat code of anything. What a great tip. Does it help? Not really. It helps a little bit. You can. There's a quick way. What? immediately color all the shit that's different colors? I don't think there is. If there is, tell me. Notice that everything I drew in the previous stream, I fucking deleted and just drew it from the beginning because I didn't like it. This is why I don't actually want to stream. Because it's a fucking waste of time. The real quick way to fill up your screen quickly is just to have someone else do it for you. It's called hiring a fucking assistant. Merge your colors in one layer with right click, merge to new, then control click the layer thumbnail. Aren't you just skipping all the time consuming part in which you have multiple colors? How did that, how is that a time consumption or a time saver? Isn't everything that you're talking about only relevant if the lines were closed, though, as well? Like, I don't want to have to change my line work like shit here. Just change the selection settings. Yeah, I have heard that you can mess around so that it's less selective and how the lines are, I don't know, connected, but I haven't fiddled with that yet. I still stand by my opinion that 90% of Clip Studio Paint based techniques are they don't actually save much time, and they're also incredibly obvious that you're hyper relying on Clip Studio Paint, so it makes the drawing look worse. Detection part and tool setting. Are you talking about tolerance? Anyways, I can always look into that. Magic Wand is something that I really have ignored on purpose for a long time. Oh, close gap. People who don't draw everything by hand, it's become super obvious. That's kind of the problem. Oh yeah, close gap. Alright, let's fiddle around with it. Alright, let's draw a face. Let's make him black. So now that we've drawn a black man, we have to make him more muscular. How will we color him in a way that is fast and efficient without changing the line art too much? Let's use the magic brush. All right, let's be a little easier on the magic brush to begin with and actually like close it at least this much. Let's turn the close gap up to maximum. Quick mask. Still obviously a little too much. All right, let's close it a little bit more. I mean, this is a huge fucking gap right here. Now here's some obvious gaps. At what point will the brush be like, that's good enough? We have maximum close gap right now. Now it's not even responding. Not bad, I guess. Alright, what about instead of doing the inversion, we try and go on the inside? Meh. Ball, you trying to say we blacks got big lips? Some blacks have really big lips, other blacks don't have big lips. If they're a random muscular black guy showing up in Japanese hentai, they must have big lips. I was just thinking about muscular black guys because of the muscular black guy that shows up in One Punch Man, and there was like this huge debate if he was quote unquote a black guy or just like someone who's super tanned, because you know everybody who's a bodybuilder is, you know, giga tanned for the performance reasons. Super tan for sure. He does have a kind of round nose, but there's also a lot of Jomon style Japanese people that look exactly like that, so he spoke Japanese well. Yeah, but there isn't any real Japan in the One Punch Man universe either. So you can, the theory can go both ways. One Punch Man is sort of a nondescript like world in which there aren't any normal countries and stuff like that, so what the fuck, he's just doing blackface? You want to see what real life muscular blackface looks like? Here. Not this. Mommy. Who should we bring up photos of? Jake Cutler? No, not, yeah. Jake Cutler, bodybuilder. Here's your average white guy bodybuilder. This guy is basically the same skin color as someone who would be classified as black, who isn't a bodybuilder because he's giving himself skin cancer by sitting under the fucking lights for I don't know how many hours you have to do. I guess it's not sitting under the lights, right? It's all spray on, isn't it? Now that I think about it. I don't know enough about bodybuilding to actually remember how this shit works, but they just like spray you down with like the fucking whatever oil it is to color you black for a while. Yeah, you just get oiled up. Some people actually do go to the tanning salon, I'm pretty sure. They just don't, not to this degree. I don't think you can even get this tanned as a white guy. It gives shine and enhances shadows. It makes you look ridiculous. I like muscles as much as any other guy, but I think it's pretty... I think we've reached the point we all need to admit that bodybuilders are, kind of look crazy. And nobody finds them attractive besides other bodybuilders. It looks unsettling, to be honest. That's what happens when you see somebody who's on $100,000 worth of performance-enhancing drugs and is probably going to die in about 10 years from heart failure. You get unsettled. It's a natural reaction to seeing somebody who's about to die. For some reason, because YouTube has recognized that I'm a male, just based on the fact that I probably watch video game related videos, at some point they're like, this guy must be interested in getting jacked like every guy. They can detect the 18 to 34 male demographic out of my video choices, and they're like, you are also interested in fucking your body up with steroids, are you not? And I'm like, I'm already, fucking 38. My period of do you even lift bro is very much over. That shouldn't stop you from getting the Baki physique. I was at fucking Planet Fitness the other day, the health club, where they have a giant alarm called the lunk alarm that employees are supposed to fucking trigger when somebody drops their weights too loud or something, to warn people that they're being too much of a gym rat, to intimidate the people that are too into their fitness. So this is supposed to be the ultimate casual location. And there was a guy doing, you know, the fucking tricep bars that they have that are like this, and you can like adjust the height, and they're like attached to a structure or something. Well, this guy was like, the guy was fucking doing this shit. He was fucking doing inverted vertical push-ups on the tricep bars. And his upper body was like completely straight. And I was just like, what the fuck? Or am I in the Baki universe right now? Is this guy gonna start just like fighting imaginary praying mantises right now? And then I was extremely impressed, and he got off the bars, and I noticed that he was like 5 feet tall, and then I wasn't as impressed anymore because obviously it's way easier to do that shit if you're extremely short. That's another thing about bodybuilding as a whole, is that you think those guys look massive, but a lot of them are actually like really short because it's easier to gain a bunch of muscle based on weight class and stuff and look that way if you're actually way shorter. Like if you see a lot of bodybuilders stand next to like normal people, you're like, holy shit, that guy's jacked, but he's also like 5'2". Don't tell any bodybuilders that I said that. They might come and kick my ass with all their roid rage. Who am I kidding? Bodybuilders don't actually know how to fight. Not completely true. Some of them are used to wrestle, and if they're tough enough to eat a punch, they can fuck you up. Yeah, well, why aren't any of them showing up to fuck me up right now? I'll tell you why, because they're a bunch of fucking pussies. Yeah. Come and fight me right now at my undisclosed address. Bitch. Yeah, I didn't think so. The truth is that most people don't actually know how to fight. People were making a big deal out of, there was a nice fight in the NBA a few days ago between the Timberwolves and the Pistons. And people were like, finally, we're going back to the 90s. People are finally starting to fight again. And then people who don't actually normally watch the NBA are like, what the fuck? Nobody's actually throwing punches. They're just like pushing each other. And I'm like, yeah, is this the first time you've seen an NBA fight? NBA players don't actually know how to fight. There's only like a few exceptions that were like the psychos, like Jerry Stackhouse and stuff, who would show up at the bus and shit, but 90% of people don't actually know how to fight. Fight me right now. You fight me right now. You fight me. I bet you won't. Fucking pussies. Everybody in my chat is a pussy because they won't show up at my house and fight me. Somebody post the Navy SEAL copy pasta. I can't remember if I've ever seen a fight in America, like a fist fight. Maybe I've seen one in school or something, but it's been a while. I've told this story before, but I've only seen one fist fight in Japan. It was in a train car, and two guys were sort of punching each other while like holding their heads hockey style. And then once they left, they got kicked out of the train car. I was like, holy shit, that's the first time I've seen like a Japanese delinquent style fight. And then they started talking to each other in Chinese, and I was like, LMAO, go figure. Of course, it's just Chinese people in America or in Japan, not actually Japanese people fighting. Just standard Chinese things going on there. An old man once tried to fight me. Getting in fights is kind of a no-win situation. Because even if you win, you can get, like, you know, sued and shit, so... Japanese elderly are weird. Was he drunk? It's important to remember that like half of the Japanese elderly population are Giga boomers who are also alcoholics because they were forced to drink on their company dime for the last 40 years and they haven't stopped. I was living in one of the more downtown areas of Tokyo in 2010. So like traditional Tokyo, lower class Tokyo. And on like Sunday morning I'd be walking around and there would just be like a fucking drunk ass boomer lying in the middle of the fucking pavement on the street. I was like, is this guy fucking dead? And I would walk up to him and nah, he was just, you know, passed out in the middle of the street. And I was just like, God damn, that's like the most alcoholic Japanese boomer shit I've seen so far. I also remember that there was a guy fixing some sort of, I don't know, the elevator or something in the dorm that I was staying at. And he had like a younger apprentice. And like when the apprentice made a mistake, the guy started slapping him in the head. And I was just like, holy shit, that's more boomer stuff. I'm living in Boomerville. When I was in apprenticeship school before joining, they highly emphasized it's not worth getting enough to fight with your journeyman and foreman. And it's just like, especially Japanese people of that certain generation, they're just like, I got slapped a lot when I was your age, so I'm gonna slap you too. Because I'm incapable of, you know, just saying something. Also, I'm a fucking alcoholic. People raised during Showa are too comfortable hitting younger people and calling it building character. Konjo. For those of you who don't know, if you grew up in the Showa area and you wanted to be like, were playing sports and stuff, they'd have you fucking run around outside in summer as part of the baseball team, and they would forbid players from drinking water because they were like, this will make you stronger mentally. Just die from fucking dehydration, and people did die from dehydration. This is the mental power that allowed the Japanese to start a war with America in the first place in World War II, and also why they were still doing stupid shit. And everyone is fucking dying from having bad supply lines. Because they're just like, if you have the strong mental toughness, you can do anything. It's like, not really. You're full of shit. What do you mean that fights on the streets of Japan do not look like in Yakuza games? There's a pretty good video I saw recently. Let's see if I can find it again on the Japanese internet of modern day Japanese delinquents. Here we go. Intense fucking action. Let's do it. Fucking Mario there. This isn't the one I was looking for. They're literally not doing anything. There was one in which they were just sort of hugging each other and slapping each other. What was that punch? The one that I was originally looking for was even more pathetic than this. It was just like two kids with dyed hair. One had like blonde hair and the other had pink hair. And they were just sort of slapping each other. Actually, one of them was slapping the other one, and the other guy who had started the fight was like, I gave up, but I'm not going to fight back because it's going to be too much work. But he wasn't, it's not like he was actually taking any damage from the other kid's punches because neither of them knew how to throw a punch. Nobody was getting hurt at all. It was pretty entertaining. Japan is a very nice, peaceful country in 2025, unlike, say, going to any Waffle House in America. There's no World Star going on in Japan. World Star! World Star hip-hop videos are all good fun and games until, like, you punch someone and they land on the pavement wrong and they just, like, die. And then you go to prison for, like, 20 years. One thing they should teach kids is that punching someone on top of concrete can, like, kill them if they land in the wrong way. Delinquent manga are a horrible fucking influence when it comes to teaching people that it's fine to get in fist fights. Because, like, no matter how much you punch somebody, they're not going to get any brain damage. If you really want to punch somebody, join a boxing or MMA gym. Sparring is fun. You can still get brain damage. I remember in earlier stages of when the MMA was still growing, MMA officials were like making the argument that MMA was way safer than boxing, and people weren't going to get long-term brain damage because unlike boxing, in which you just keep on punching people with gloves, MMA you knock them out and like the fight is over, so it's much less head trauma. And lo and behold, 15 years later, all these MMA guys are just getting long-lasting CRT head trauma. So basically anything that involves your skull getting bashed in repeatedly is probably going to be bad for you. We can get brain damage without being punched, as you showed us earlier on stream. I'm sorry I took away your soap shaving videos. Let me put that back up so you guys won't get bored. No, please, no. Do you want me to put blackhead extraction videos instead? Blackhead extraction is something I legitimately watch time to time, and it's funny because YouTube will never ever recommend you that shit, even though the videos get millions of views. So apparently there's something about like body horror content that YouTube doesn't want people to be like using their platform for it. Ah, yes. Nothing like some good blackhead extraction, am I right, boys? Look at this shit. Fucking 10 million views on this video. 10 million. And I will never ever get recommendation videos on it on my front page of YouTube. They just don't want you to be using YouTube for this type of content. They're like, please, human beings, stop it. Can you do reacts to YouTube Shorts? What should I react to, guys? What kind of content should I be reacting to right now? Please draw? No. If I was gonna draw, I wouldn't be streaming in the first place. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try and draw her face right now. Minecraft movie review. How many of you are gonna see the Minecraft movie? Is it gonna be epic? He's gonna redraw it after stream anyway. I think the body is fine. This woman is a mother of 2 children, by the way. The Minecraft movie is 15 years too late. No. Surely, the Gen Alpha children that are 6 years old right now will react to Jack Black as Steve. I'm sure it'll make money. I mean, it has to make money because the parents have to take their kids to see something so they can get a break. What's the time? 5 p.m. Oh. I didn't do any drawing besides like my standard daily exercise gesture drawing practice yesterday because I was getting so fucking stressed out by politics and shit. So I just went to McDonald's and I went grocery shopping, then came back and played Monster Hunter for like 8 hours, and I was like, fuck it. Movie has a good timing. Children movies, I don't think timing is a real issue for children's movies because, again, parents just want to get out of the fucking house and have the movie screen babysit their children for an hour and a half. It will do fine, I'm sure. They could have been at Minecraft Movie 5, though. Think how Nintendo could have been at Mario Movie 13 by now. Now that's some real lost profit. Nintendo really lost out on monetizing a lot of their IPs, which is really ironic considering they had plenty of shitty IP use back in the day when it was at its peak popularity. I guess maybe they learned from that and they were like, we're not gonna let other industries just make Mario movies, but man, when you were growing up in the 90s, there was plenty of like shitty Mario content, like the first live-action Mario Brothers movie. So it made you think, like, if Nintendo were okay to give the go sign on this piece of shit, why did it take them so fucking long to get a normal animated movie? Can someone just... Here's a pro tip to the massive billion-dollar fucking corporations. If you have an IP that's a fucking cartoon, stop trying to make fucking live-action actor-based content out of it. Just make another cartoon. Why is this so goddamn difficult? Why you have to be like Sonic the Hedgehog is in the real world with fucking Jim Carrey and what's his name, who's a Kansas State trooper. Like, just make the fucking Sonic movie. Everyone who's like, but the Sonic movie was a success. It's like, yeah, it was a success in spite of that shit, not because of it. The kiddies and the autistic man children are going to go see CG Sonic big picture movie in any situation. Where can I hook up with MILFs above 35 in Japan? I'm sure there's I don't know. Try the PTA, local Parent Teachers Association, I think. It's important to remember that there's not many MILFs in Japan because the birth rate has drop precipitously. Abe-san is rolling in his grave. I blame One Piece for making live action popular. There's a shit ton of live action shit way before the One Piece Netflix series. In fact, the One Piece Netflix series was like the one live action Netflix series that they didn't fuck up, right? I don't have Netflix, so I haven't seen them, but it was like the one success they had after failure after failure after failure. So it's pretty, seems pretty incorrect to blame One Piece for live action shit. Aren't people cremated in Japan because burial ain't a thing? There's not enough land in Japan to be burying people places. It's a health hazard. It's too moist and shit. You're asking for disease and stuff. One of the Japanese anti-immigration xenophobia people's complaints is how Muslims are complaining how they want to bury their dead in Japan. Because Japan has anti-burial laws and Muslims are like, no, you must respect our customs. They're like, why should we respect your customs in Japan? Fucking go home. But yeah, Japan has had a long practices that you have to basically cremate everybody because there just isn't enough space to have a bunch of cemeteries. My general opinion on immigration and cultural customs and stuff is exactly opposite between what I think should happen in America and what I think should happen in Japan. If there's any like minority group that's like, you should respect our cultural customs, we should be able to do what we want here, I'd be like, yeah, definitely. America has no fucking culture. Everything here has been stolen from native people. Anything that's good in America is because of immigrants brought like some better culture to America. Feel free, go fucking wild. And when it comes to Japan, I'm like, no, shut the fuck up, you dirty ass foreigners. Go back to your native country. Stop trying to shit up Japanese local customs. And I don't feel like I'm being a hypocrite regarding this. America is already, you know, full of a billion other ethnic groups. Go ahead and feel free to do what you want. Back in my hometown, there's miles of unused land reserved for bodies, like it's going to be enough for hundreds of years. Yeah, Japan not only is a much smaller country than America with like, but they still have like 1/3 the population of America, being, despite being like 1/50th of its size. But the amount of, that's not the real problem. Japan is a country, they have land mass, it's just that like 90% of the land mass is mountains. So if you try and bury a body on a mountain and some rain falls, then it's probably going to be like exposing that body and shit, so you can't just bury people on the mountainside. There's a very, very short supply of flat, arable land where you can just bury bodies. So they have Japanese cemeteries, but it's just like communal graves, and then you put a bunch of ashes in them. You can't give people individual plots. Is it easy not to have an accent when speaking Japanese? My teacher says as long as I have a monotone voice, I won't have as much of an accent. I don't know. I mean, how do you think about my monotone voice and accent? People think I have like a Boston accent because I don't say my R's. I can't say R. Drawer. I can't say that shit. And it has nothing to do with me speaking Japanese. It's always been like that. Boston. Hard R, yeah. We got lots of hard R's in this stream, baby. Drawer. Couldn't tell what accent you got. I mean, there's Japanese with different accents. There's lots of different accents in Japanese. And some of the local dialects in Japan, I don't know if you count them in like a different accent or a different dialect, but you literally can't tell what they're saying. Like me as a Japanese speaker cannot fucking tell what's being said. It's like way worse than local languages or local accents in America. So these are, they're going from the top. If you notice, they start putting in stuff. So the bigger, the guns. So instead of just like reading something like you don't need to understand their words, just understand their gestures, it'd be like, you don't need to understand the words, just understand the gestures, and they try to sit there, blah, 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 blah. That's how it sounds like they're speaking. At least they're not French. Words that can be spoken in a lot of situations. Japanese Oji-san who demands you speak Japanese with his slurred dialect that is barely understood. Yeah, you probably won't get as many of those people as you think. Instead, you get something that's much worse, which is Japanese person who speaks a very limited amount of English, but is going to insist on trying to speak to you in English because he took, 5,000 yen of English classes, and he'll be damned if he doesn't get to use them in his real life situation. And it's, you can't communicate. You're trying to speak in Japanese and he's trying to speak in English is much more common. Ah! Do you guys have any... Are you looking forward for any video games coming out? Because I was saying this before Monster Hunter Wilds came out, but like Monster Hunter Wilds was like literally the last video game in which I was actually looking forward for a new release, and I literally have nothing to look forward to at this point. I have 0 games that I care about set to release in the future. Metroid Prime 4. Is Metroid Prime 4 going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, or is it going to just be on both Switch and Switch 2? Deltarune. Isn't Deltarune in like the Patreon going to be in development forever phase though? Because Toby Fox can continue to receive money forever because his fan base is going to be like that. Not gonna lie, I never really cared about Metroid. I played Prime, and I played a little bit of, no, maybe I didn't. Maybe I haven't actually played any 2D Metroids, because I never had a Super Nintendo. I never developed a relationship with a Metroid when it was at its peak. I'm just not a huge fan of Metroidvanias, because I like dropping my video games halfway through and then coming back to them months or maybe years later. And if you do that with a fucking Metroidvania, you're gonna be just like absolutely in the shitter, right? Because you can't remember which doors need to be opened with what item and stuff like that. And they don't give you like a helpful, hey, remember you just got this new power, you can go back to this door, because like that's the primary entertainment value of a Metroidvania, is like you discovering that shit and backtracking. So they're not actually going to have like a checklist in most cases, which makes them completely unplayable if you're not like keeping mental notes of this shit. Enough Metroidvanias make more Zelda-likes and inspires like that little Fox game Tunic. You mean like 2D Zeldas? I want more 3D Zeldas. And not Breath of the Wild Zeldas. But I don't actually want them on a Nintendo system, because I'm not going to pay $8,000 for a fucking Switch 2, you know? Isn't Zelda Metrovania 2? Kind of? Do we call any games that are 3D Metroidvanias? I feel like it's reserved for 2D games only. Someone might be like, no, that 3D game is definitely a Metroidvania, but you don't really use it, that terminology, that way. It's almost entirely reserved for 2D. Breath of the Wild was great for exactly one game. I mean, isn't Genshin Impact Breath of the Wild's clone? That's what I've been told by everybody. Right, I just drew this arm and now I realize that. Yeah. Alright, we'll draw the armor after I draw the pose. For fuck's sake, they're making Mario Kart open world. Isn't it just like drive around a hub and then like when you get on into the areas, you just have the normal courses? I don't know. No matter what Nintendo does, they're probably going to be massively successful. So, and by successful, I mean they're going to have a bunch of dumbasses buy their overpriced fucking games. So, even in this economy, BB is drawing fat tits with perky nipples. No matter what happens, I won't stop, guys. The nipples will stay erect. It's going to be strange this time around. Most people aren't going to be able to grab the Switch. Scalpers won't be able to sell shit. Another PS5 situation, maybe. Yeah, but the PS5 had a shit ton of scalpers and they were selling shit. So the whole anti-scalper thing, how does it work? Is it like they only sell it to you if you have like a Nintendo account and like your purchase is like directly tied to your Nintendo account? And like how many games you have? Is that how it works? So they're only, like, they're choosing who they sell it to people who, like, have a proven track record that they're, you know, actual consumers of the company's products. Is that how it's going to be? Something like that. I had a corpo job despite 2008 for quite a while, and I was still drawing tits. In fact, I started drawing boobs on 4chan right around the same time that I got my first, like, quote-unquote real office job. You need an active account with at least 2 to 10 hours in game. What, each game or just like one game? Because I'm pretty sure scalpers will be able to have 2 hours active in game pretty easily. I assume they're not like going to be counting your fucking chivos, so total game, LMAO. If you're a scalper and you give up because you're not willing to have like fucking 2 hours in game. But I guess they don't own Switches and stuff in the first place, so maybe that's the difficult part. They should just like straight up tie your achievements to who gets to buy shit. Wait, does Nintendo even have achievements? I can't remember. If you could get preferential treatment in buying new systems, it would be the first time in history that Chivos were actually worth something. Are you drawing all the Soul Calibur girls? No. I also have a huge rule against not drawing Soul Calibur content because their costumes are so time consuming to draw. I'm breaking that rule, but scalpers are just gonna buy bot accounts? Yeah. $50 hours of gameplay after they were done with the direct, couldn't retroactively get the hours. They should just make it so that you directly have to go to the Nintendo headquarters and suck Reggie's dick on camera. And he won't sell you the Switch unless you actually make him come. No freebies. Who is the president of Nintendo right now? I don't even know. That would actually be a pretty good campaign. Yeah, and everybody could get to see the people sucking dick on the Nintendo Direct live stream, and they'd be like, damn, he gets a Switch too and I don't. If only I had the opportunity to suck cock. It would be very much Kino. It's the content that we're all waiting for, Nintendo. Get to it. Faceless suit. Yeah, we haven't seen any memes of the Nintendo president or anything, so I assume he's not particularly prominent in internet culture right now compared to the previous guys. What happened to Doug Bowser then? Isn't that Nintendo of America, not Nintendo of Japan? I'm not sure. I will never buy a Switch 2. So before, even without the tariffs, before the tariffs, what was it supposed to be? Like $500? That's way too much. $450. Okay, that's still too much. I don't know at what price point I'd be willing to buy a Switch or a Switch 2, but considering I'd only have like 4 or 5 games I'd probably play on it, it would have to be below like 300, which is it will never be. So that means I'm never gonna buy one. I should set up a GoFundMe, buy BB a Switch so he can stream. And then I go to prison because Nintendo hates fucking streaming their games. Switch was $350 at launch? Yeah, no wonder it was popular. Even with inflation and shit. They kind of hit the price point for where, like, parents would be willing to just, like, throw money at something. In a way that I don't think the Switch 2 will be able to, but I bet they're assuming that their install base is, you know, big enough and their fanboys are rabid enough that it won't make any difference. They're probably going to be cheaper in Japan. I mean, they're probably not going to be sold in America until Trump undoes his tariffs or something, right? Get fucked, Nintendo fanboys. I guess we're all getting fucked, but Nintendo's not being able to buy their Switch will be incredibly funny while I suffer under my own tariff pain. If there's one good situation in America falling into a permanent dictatorship run by a bunch of idiots, who are destroying the global economy. It's that the Nintendies will be suffering. What would you even play on Switch 2? Is it backward compatible or not? Because if it's not backward compatible, I would truly never ever buy one. I mean, I was thinking of buying a Switch so I could play Wii U games, honestly, as well. In Japan, Switch 2 is $330, and everywhere else it's skyrocketed all the way up to 500 plus. The Japanese are the chosen people of Japan. The blessed souls. They should get their Nintendo toys cheaper. Well, if it's going to be that much cheaper in Japan, you know that they're going to have to do like some serious anti-scalping measures, because if they don't, like, Japan is already full of just like Chinese scalpers at every point of life, so... Isn't it funny that PS5 is at the end of its lifespan and there's like one game on it? Who said it's at the end of its lifespan? I don't see any PlayStation 6 announcement anytime soon. If they are planning to release a PlayStation 6 and there's going to be a massive global tariff disruption, they're going to have to find a different source of, you know, graphic cards and shit like that. That's not like Taiwan, probably, so... I bet Sony is feeling like they dodged a bullet not announcing PS6 in response to the Switch or something like that, because it would just make shit more complicated. I think a lot of corporations are going to have to, I don't know, rejigger their entire fucking supply chain because nobody knows what Trump is going to do next chance, so... Japanese Switch 2s will be region locked? Seriously? Are we actually going back to like 2003? That's fucking retarded. Everything is getting worse again. Feels good, man. Usually console lifespan is 6-7 years before a new console replaces it. Yeah, but who gives a fuck? That's just conventional. See, you're saying that 6-7 lifespan based on how we used to change consoles because there were graphical advances and shit actually got better. There haven't been any graphical advances in years. Monster Hunter Wilds was the first game in a long time in which I was actually like, oh, this is actually using the console's capabilities and it might benefit from a stronger console at just a little bit, but it still runs fine. It's not pushing the envelope at all in terms of like frame rate and stuff. It's still perfectly, you know, within the capabilities of the PS5. My point is there's no point getting a PS5, and I don't think that's going to change. I kind of disagree. PS4 and PS5 aren't a huge difference, but... Elden Ring was kind of running like shit on my PS4, so... How many of you people who actually, like, comment on PlayStation content on this stream actually own a PlayStation? Raise your hands. I feel like you're all just fucking salty PC players who have spent $3,000 on your overpriced GPU because the market is fucked up because everybody has to generate AI porn and mine Bitcoin. I wouldn't want to, like, play Red Dead Redemption on my PS4, for example. I think that would be a pretty bad experience. Is it normal that I never get notifications for the stream? It's kind of weird. Some of your settings might be wrong. I'm pretty sure everybody else is getting their notifications. I still have my PS2. It still works. I'm using it to play Final Fantasy VIII in Japanese. Feels good, man. The thing is, I'm not playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I've been thinking about it, but I haven't. Because I'm just sort of sick with Rockstar. So I definitely am not using my PS5 to its full capabilities. But I'm kind of okay with that. The reason I bought a PS5 was because I thought my PS4 had broken. But it was actually my monitor. I guess my monitor had some sort of timed, like, anti-HDMI, anti-piracy software in the HDMI system. And then it just started giving me a black screen. Because my monitor was out of date for their fucking anti-piracy software. And when I connected my PS4 to a different TV in the house and then changed the settings inside the PS4 to make it so that that anti-HDMI shit didn't come on, then I was able to see the fucking screen. What a dumbass shit. Yeah, I couldn't believe that shit happened because I was like, how could this be possible? My monitor isn't connected to the internet, right? Did they have a fucking timer? I forgot what it was called. It's like HDMI anti-piracy internalized software or something like that. HDMI anti-piracy measures. HDCP, High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection, a digital copy protection system that prevents unauthorized copying. I'm pretty sure it fucking just, like, had, like, some sort of timer or expired. Because, like, there's no reason why... I didn't even think my PS4 updated. I'm still not sure why it gave me a fucking black screen, but there was an option in the PS4 that I could turn off, and I was able to see again. I had someone return a PS4 when I worked at Best Buy because their PS4 was bugged. Yeah, it's not... And it was happening with my my laptop as well. And it didn't give me a full black screen, but when I would try and say watch Amazon Prime Video on my second monitor, I think it would actually just straight up give me a message that was like, you're using an HDMI version that is not up to date, because this was like a monitor from like 2010 or something. And we're like, we're not going to give you high bandwidth or some shit like that. Whatever shit was going on, the HDMI anti-piracy protections were fucking crazy. And I still can't figure out why it suddenly activated at some point. Because it seemed to activate out of nowhere without any kind of like connection to the internet. So that makes me think they had some kind of internal timer. Because that's the only way to explain it. Unless the internet, there was some sort of internet connection in the monitor that I didn't know about, but I don't think so. What's Cass looking at? She's looking at this. Here's a spoiler. I already drew this off stream. One-chan! You have to wear a fucking bra. There are HDMI cords you can buy that will bypass shit like that, but almost every HDMI 2.0 now has the HDCP stuff. Hopefully, because I now have a new 4K monitor. I mean, it was fine because I just bought a new monitor, and I was thinking of buying a 4K monitor for a while, though, so I'm not really... Why are monitors so fucking cheap? That was always like a huge part of the expenses of gaming and stuff back in my day, is the fucking TV. But now we have like these high definition monitors that are cheap as fuck. Like a 4K monitor is like $200, $300. Shit is cheap as hell. Well, not anymore, I guess, thanks to tariffs. Keck W. Enjoy your $7,000 monitor now, because we can't make it in Taiwan anymore or something. Panels are easy to make. I guess we did have... I say there's no technological breakthroughs, but I guess we did have some breakthroughs. I think there was like some Japanese guy that invented some diode, and he won a Nobel technological prize or some shit for it. Something like that. Thanks, Trump, Praga, and JD Vance. How long do you think these tariffs are going to last? Because a lot of people are like, Trump could rescind these anytime, and Trump doesn't believe in anything. Well, I agree that Trump doesn't believe in anything besides making himself rich. I actually kind of feel that tariffs are the one thing that's like an exception to that. I think Trump really does believe that tariffs are like extremely important and make the world a better place and protect America and stuff. Because he's been really consistent about that since the 90s. He was always like super pissed that the Japanese were, you know, sending America cars. It's just part of like his fundamental understanding about how trade works and how money works. He thinks that if there's a fucking trade imbalance, it means you're getting ripped off, and I don't think that's ever going to change in his mind. Like, he doesn't understand that the core concept that if there's a impoverished African nation that sells America $500 of goods in woven baskets, and then they buy nothing from America in return because they make 3 cents a day making fucking baskets, it doesn't mean that they're quote-unquote winning the global trade. This is too difficult for Trump to understand, but I think he's just going to be like this until he dies. I'm going to have to really try hard to get these nipples perky enough, because Taki is like a goddamn legend when it comes to video games and having visible nipples and having, you know, torpedo-shaped tits that really stick out. I really have to do that justice here. I'm going to have to redraw the boobs like 10 times to make sure that they're just the right shape. He's probably using them to bully small countries into renegotiating more acceptable ones. I think Trump legitimately believes that he can revive American manufacturing if he tries hard enough. Torpedo tits is going in my vocabulary. It's actually a pretty common term that we've had on the internet for a while. They could last a week or a month. Yeah, they really could. Or forever. Who knows? Trump will accomplish bringing manufacturing back, but it will be behind the rest of the world. I mean, I don't know if he can under any circumstance. People don't actually want to work in a shitty factory grinding out the same machine part their entire life. It's pretty funny how these people lionize the concept of making a living working in these soul-crushing factories. Republicans who are like coal miners are the salt of America, manufacturing jobs are the basis of American wealth and shit like that. None of those people ever actually worked in a fucking factory or a coal mine. And they're like, this is what made America great. It's like, those jobs fucking sucked, okay? People did that because they paid a good wage, and they paid a good wage because they were hard as hell, and you were like back-breaking, mind-numbing, shitty-ass work that people don't actually want to do. I thought we're throwing out non-whites. Unfortunately, there's too many non-whites to throw them all out. So we're just going to have to live with all the non-whites that are already in the country. Good luck with that. Kids yearn for the mines, yes. Building character. The work drains people's souls, yeah. People just are nostalgic for the manufacturing jobs because it was a way to make a decent income back in the day, and now you still have soul-crushing work and you don't get paid a decent income. People don't actually want the job itself. They just want the time in which you could be someone with like a high school diploma and make enough money to support a family. They don't actually want the job itself. They just want the money, you know. Both Trump and Musk have never actually worked an honest day of labor in their entire fucking life, so they don't understand this concept. It's better to have the Chinese work in those factories and mines instead. I mean, even China was losing a lot of their factory jobs before tariffs and stuff because even lower income countries were taking them, like Vietnam or Laos or Cambodia or whatever, Bangladesh. Like, you think the Chinese people want to be making your shitty SpongeBob toy for 30 hours a day? Nobody wants to fucking do that. They just want to spend all day long sewing the eyeballs onto SpongeBob. Why the fuck do you think they had to put anti-suicide nets on the Foxconn factories? Let's see what Mr. Marx said about it. Marx quotes on factory work. What the working man sells is not directly his labor, but his laboring power, the temporary disposal of which he makes over to the capitalist. This is so much the case that I do not know whether by the English law, but certainly by some continental laws, the maximum time is fixed for which a man is allowed to sell his laboring power. If allowed to do so for any indefinite period whatever, slavery would be immediately restored. Such a sale, if it compromised his lifetime, for example, would make him at once the lifelong slave of his employer. The worker puts his life into the object, but now it no longer belongs to him, it belongs to the object. Labor produces marvels for the rich, but it produces deprivation for the worker. It produces palaces, but hovels for the worker. It produces beauty, but deformity for the worker. It replaces labor by machines, but it throws one section of the workers back to barbaric labor, and it turns the remainder into machines. Thank you, Mr. Marx. What you said 100 years ago is now just as relevant today. Marx said the proletariat needs to be armed to defend itself against the oppressor. Why do you think they're trying to give Luigi the fucking death penalty? I remember China banning delivery apps to stop people from earning income without slaving away at SpongeBob Factory. Did they ban them? I think they still have them, but I think they banned like the Western delivery app so they could give it to a Chinese company. I think they still have them, but they might have like reduced the income you could get. What book was that? I don't know. I think he only wrote like one or two, right? The last quote was from Alienated Labor, page 135. At this point, value of company is not the product, but jobs it produces. At this point, value of companies, if we're going by stock value, is arbitrary estimates by venture capitalists on what they think the future will be like, and not about like any kind of products it produces at all. Fuck the stock market. I would wish someone would destroy it right now. Wow. I have some really good news for you, actually. You've come in at just the right time, because guess what? The stock market is getting fucking annihilated. I think what he means is the entire stock market, so people can't fucking trade futures of companies and bullshit like that in the first place. But if you're looking to invest, now is a good time to have a lot of cash on hand, because this shit is going to crash soon. Buy the dip? I mean, it's going to be dipping hard, baby. My chest of gold is doing great. To the moon. Having precious metals is always cool until someone shows up at your doorstep and shoots you in the head and takes it. Wait, what's happening to Bitcoin? I haven't checked that. Is Bitcoin price going up because everything is going crazy? Not really. It's about the same. It peaked at Trump's inauguration, of course. If I was a Bitcoin holder and it hit 100,000 when Trump hit the office, I was like, now is the time to sell. I would have sold so hard at that point. It's bound to 80,000, so, but... The thing is, you can gamble that shit like Bitcoin, which is inherently worthless because you can't really use it as actual money most of the cases, is not worth $80,000 and stuff. The thing is, you're not actually gambling on the value of things. You're gambling on how stupid everybody else is around you. And human beings are very hard to predict. That's the difficult part of the stock market. You're never actually gambling on the value of things. You're gambling on what other people think the value of things are. And you can never underestimate human stupidity. So you're always in danger of like everybody being way dumber than you thought they were, and you get completely fucked. Fiat is real though. It's more real than Bitcoin. You're gonna go to drive up to McDonald's and pay for that fucking Big Mac with your Bitcoin? Your 1/500,000th of a Bitcoin? Like, give me a break. I know they tried to say this was real for a while. Every time any kind of country or organization is like, no, crypto is real, we're gonna prove it, you always get an article like 3 months later being like, this company bet big on crypto, it turned out it was a massive scam, I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that one coming. Who could have thought that they would get rug pulled? Damn, that's definitely the first time that's happened. I like how we already have a million ways to lose money through gambling, but somehow the Bitcoin people found a new way to gamble, except it's even more of a scam than just like going to a casino and putting all your money on red. Because you're probably going to get fucking rug pulled for whatever meme coin. I wonder if there's anyone that you can talk to online who actually bought the Trump meme coin when he got inaugurated and then immediately rug pulled his followers. You should be able to gamble on shitcoin performance. Gambleception, baby. I mean, isn't that what buying a shitcoin is in the first point? You're buying a shitcoin and then you have to sell it before it gets rug pulled. So you're gambling on at what timing you can sell it before you get caught holding the bag. It's basically gambling already. Do comic of people holding hope for Bitcoin to make a comeback? I think it will make a comeback. I mean, there's no reason why it wouldn't make a comeback. 100,000 might be a pretty high thing to reach, but I mean, if you bought at 100k, you're fucking stupid, obviously, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of hair ornament she's wearing here. How do these fuckers sleep? Are there apps that have set alarm if the stocks start dropping? It's called meth. You just don't sleep. The answer is they do sleep and then they get scammed and they lose a lot of money because they can't monitor their money crashing all the time. I mean, you can just straight up have, you can just gamble on the stock market through binary options. You guys know about that? I didn't know about that until I started following a Japanese streamer who's like one of the most popular locals in Japan. And he would be a fucking millionaire if he chose to monetize his stream on YouTube, but instead he streams on Nico Nico Doga instead, which doesn't have any monetization option. So instead of like being a fucking millionaire, he slaves away in day labor jobs while he gets like 10,000 viewers and shit. It's one of the most bizarre shit I've seen. He's like a true OG locale who refuses to make a money and escape poverty no matter what the cost. He's just like, no, I'm not going to monetize, and it doesn't make any sense, but he still lives in an extremely shitty apartment, and he drives DoorDash, and he works like day labor construction stuff, and I'm just like, man, you keep on going, bro. But yeah, he was doing binary options on stream, and you just gamble basically on whether like the exchange rate of the yen will be above a certain threshold 2 minutes from now or not, and it's just like completely random. He also does stuff like he eats random roadkill that he found on the road and fish that he catches that you're not supposed to eat. It's some of the most absolute horrifying shit I've seen. I'm surprised he hasn't died yet. That's the opposite of a lolcow. I think everybody's a lolcow if they show their face on stream and people know who they are. And most people don't show their face on stream, especially not in Japan. So I think just by showing his face, that makes him a lolcow. So I think he still counts as a lolcow, actually. You watch weirdos, man? It's not a weirdo. Well, he is a weirdo, but it's not like I'm watching unpopular, that I found this guy out of nowhere. He's the most popular, you know, streamer in Japan, basically. At least from that Nico Nico period. There's a few, like, YouTubers. So everybody who has his viewership in Japan, everybody else is, like, streaming on YouTube and they've monetized and they have, like, you know, millions of dollars, essentially. Except this guy, who is getting evicted from his apartment because he is failing to pay rent and stuff. And then all these people show up at his fucking eviction hearing trial to be like, we're rooting for you, bro. He just sounds like Filthy Frank. Yeah. He's in that category. Japanese XQC. Didn't XQC lose like $1 billion gambling because he has like an illegitimate gambling problem? And then like the companies would like give him money to gamble on stream, and then you gamble more than the money they would give him. Yeah, feels good, man. Alright guys, I'm going to end the stream here because this is probably all the progress I'm going to be making. I was actually able to draw something on stream, not a lot, but that's good enough. See you around, guys. Good night.